So I finally wrapped up my Starfield journey. Let me tell you, it's been a wild ride. See, I don't get a ton of gaming time in a busy schedule. Usually it's just about 1 to 2 hours a day. And sometimes even less, and sometimes none at all. So you can imagine it took me quite a while to see the end credits roll on this one. But let me make it clear, even with my limited gaming time, I just had to dive into Starfield. I mean, I'm a Bethesda fanboy through and through. I've cherished pretty much all their games, well, except for Fallout 76 for obvious reasons. Now, after completing Starfield, I've got to say it's a stunner. When it comes to the graphics, the sound design, the lighting, this game outshines many of its Bethesda siblings. The planets are a real feast for the eyes, especially when you're gazing at the night sky for the first time. The procedurally generated forests and wildlife are seriously better than anything Bethesda has done before. And the handcrafted cities, beautiful, they may feel more lived in, more authentic than anything we've seen in their past games. The gunplay was a big upgrade from Fallout 4. Then there are the space sections. You're zipping around in your spaceship, battling it out in your own cosmic way. With some of the side missions, man, they were more interesting than a main mission. The UC Vanguard mission, the Crimson Fleet mission, those were pretty solid. Plus, there was this cool fetch quest where I had to snag something from an abandoned spaceship. The gravity kept changing in the spaceship. And that mechanic I had encountered only once, and that felt pretty cool to me. Oh, also, I stumbled upon a colony on a distant planet inhabited solely by famous historical flickers. So you have to do a mission for them, and even that turned out to be very entertaining for me. So, now full disclosure, I was more hooked on the side quest than the main storyline, but let me tell you, the ending of the main quest, unexpected and fantastic. It ties up neatly with the new Game Plus system, a cool touch I must say. And the best part, unlike some other Bethesda games at launch, Starfield was surprisingly light on bugs for me. Sure, there were a few hiccups here and there, minor performance issues, and the occasional enemy doing bizarre T-poses. Oh, and let's not forget the classical Bethesda bug where NPCs stroll around cities without any clothes. So it's Bethesda after all, so there are bound to be some bugs. But most of the bugs that I found out were more entertaining than annoying. I mean, I had a personal favorite one where the notebook suddenly turned into a fidget spinner. And also, I don't know if it's a bug or not, but I somehow managed to romance and marry both Samco and Sarah Morgan. Even with all the bugs, like I said, most were more entertaining than annoying. I mean, if I can also give you one more example, there were one bug where I had a jetpack orbiting the debris of a destroyed enemy ship for some reason, and I found it to be weirdly fascinating and just looked at it for a few minutes. So in a nutshell, if you're a Bethesda fan like me, who's lost countless hours in Elder Scrolls or Fallout series, you're going to enjoy Starfield. It's got that classic Bethesda formula and the magical touch that keeps you hooked. But, and there's always a but, I can't ignore the controversy that's been buzzing around this game and still going on. Some critics have been pretty harsh with low review scores, and some folks at YouTube have been calling it the worst Bethesda game ever, even calling it mediocre or broken. Now, I don't fully agree with all the negativity, but I can't deny that Starfield has its fair share of problems, and there are quite a number of problems. Firstly, to truly experience Starfield, you've got to put in a ton of hours exploring the vast open world. But here's the kicker. There's too many loading screens, constant menu browsing just to fast travel, and then there's the outpost system, which for me doesn't hold a candle to Fallout 4's settlement setup. I mean, at the start, you brush off most of the game's hitches, but as you keep playing, the time-wasting system starts getting under your skin. Me, because I've got limited gaming time, I tend to steer clear of games that chew up the clock. I mean, if a game starts wasting my time, if I feel it's wasting my time, I usually just leave it halfway. And if a game keeps me engaged, no matter its size, no matter what kind of graphics it has, or the number of side quests, it's not wasting my time. Here, if I compare it with Starfield, it doesn't quite fit that bill. I mean, unlike when I'm playing Skyrim with mods, which opens this magical door to another world, in Skyrim I can just point in any direction, start walking every single time I stumble on something new or super interesting. That's why I keep getting drawn back into it. But compared to Skyrim, even without mods, Starfield kind of falls short. In Starfield, whenever you want to check out different spots on a planet you've landed on, or you want to go to a new planet in another star system, or you're just trying to go from one planet to another in the same star system, there's just too many menus to click through. It's like menus, loading screen, menu again to land your ship, then more loading. And let me tell you, the loading screens are seriously a pain in the neck. Whether you're landing on a planet, or docking with a spaceship, or even entering a small room, bam, you're hit with the loading screen. It starts to grind your gears real fast. I mean, I remember in Skyrim, if I wanted to travel somewhere, I had options. I could either fast travel and save time, or take a leisurely stroll, soaking in the fantastic Skyrim world. But in Starfield, the freedom of choice just isn't there. Even if I want to visit a planet in the same star system, yep, more loading screens. And when you finally land on a planet, you're stuck watching this unskippable spaceship landing cutscene. All these loading screens and non-skippable bits made exploring new planets a drag. And well, it got old real quick. I mean, honestly, it became such a drag that I had to resort to fast traveling everywhere just to save time. It bursted my immersion, but it was just better than dealing with all those darn loading screens and menus. I mean, I really wish the whole traveling system was much more simpler and interactive, like just hopping into a spaceship and taking off without all these loading screens. The only loading screen in my head that I might have accepted was using your grav drive for some long jumps across some different star systems when you're trying to go from one star system to another star system. So this whole mess is why I ended up not spending a lot of time exploring most of the planets in Starfield. I mean, at the beginning, I did try and visit a bunch of them, and they were stunning. I will tell you that they were stunning, but they felt way too empty. The procedurally generated content on most planets didn't exactly give me a good reason to explore more. The point of interest that they generated were just too spread out. And trudging there on foot or even using the jetpack was way too slow. It felt like being stuck in an empty and lifeless walking simulator, you know. And hey, why didn't they put any vehicles in the game? No speedy rides to cover more ground. The jetpacks, like I mentioned before, they are great in cities. But out in these massive planets, it just doesn't cut it. What if they let us see the local wildlife as mounts, just like horses in Skyrim? You know, that bit's something. I mean, you do unlock perks to control the wildlife without messing up the game's vibe. Without all these things, I get why some folks hope for a smaller, more packed world in Starfield. I mean, who can blame them? And most of the procedural content that was generated on the planets, they started feeling like deja vu. I mean, seeing the same stuff on different planets again and again was just kind of felt like you didn't have the incentive to explore the planets too much. And until Bethesda spices things up with a mod that adds new content, or modders come to the rescue with new content or faster ways to move around, I'm ditching all the other plans in Starfield. I mean, right now it's just a waste of time exploring all of them. So I will just stick to the planets that I have to go for the mission or the side missions. And now coming to the cities in Starfield, like I said, they feel very much lived in and much more better than what Bethesda's made before. But compared to Skyrim, they just felt small to me. I mean, in Skyrim, you move from one city to another with loading screens only when you enter them. This makes the cities and the world feel much more connected and huge. But in Starfield, every time you want to hit up a new planet, it's like you have to go to the menu, then the loading screen, then a cut screen when the ship takes off, cut screen when the ship lands, and then again a loading screen when you have to get out of the ship. You have to rinse and repeat. This kills the flow of exploring. Big cities feel tiny for me because of that. They feel too disconnected. And talking about the cities, I just couldn't wrap my head around about how the map's missing for these cities. I mean, getting around became such a pain, especially when I was looking for a store to trade in New Atlantis. I mean, resource gathering for crafting on those planets as well was too slow and boring. And coming to the outpost system was just a resource gathering fest lacking any cool features. I mean, you know what would have been awesome for the outpost system if Bethesda had swapped in the same settlement system from Fallout 4. I mean, just picture this. Empty planets transforming into bustling towns, new settlers arriving, that would be all tied into the Starfield's lore of League of Independent Settlers. The LIST lore that Starfield has, where people go out into the cosmos and settle down in new planets. I think that would have gone really well with this mechanic. I mean, it would be rad to help these folks set up camp on some abandoned planet as a side quest, and then come back and check after a while, and boom, you got yourself a bustling city. Throw in some side quests like fending off local wildlife or space pirates, and that's the kind of stuff that would make me spend more time on the outpost system and explore new planets. Oh, and also remember, there's a side quest. I think this is a spoiler, but there's a side quest where you have some space travelers who are looking for a place to settle down. So helping them build a society from scratch, from a small settlement to full-on city, would have tied very nicely with this mechanic. Right now, I'm crossing my fingers that talented modders can make this happen, similar to what went down in Fallout 4 with the Sim Settlements mod. So I'm hoping that modders will come to the rescue. On a different note, I do not understand the realism that Bethesda is aiming for in Starfield. I mean, like the airlock opening too slow, or the no-go on spacewalks. I mean, you're in space in a spaceship, but you can't go for a spacewalk. But come on, let's be real here. The realism feels more like an excuse to cover for things they missed. I mean, case in point, Neon, that massive city on a water planet. And when I heard for the first time there'd be a water planet, I was psyched, thinking they'd let us explore the water. But nope, no diving and swimming underwater in Starfield, even though it was present in their previous games. Seriously, why should we remove the diving bit? I mean, even if they didn't want to go the whole Subnautica route with the submarines and the survival bit, at least let us take a dip and swim around a bit. They could have made it a little risky, like warning us about a spacesuit not being cool with underwater stuff, or making the water murky dark for an eerie swim. Heck, they could have even thrown in some deadly alien fish. I mean, there's the Chambers on Neon. Now that would keep things interesting and much more lore friendly and immersive. It could have made the underwater scene in Starfield much more engaging. But hey, we've got what we got. I mean, even here I'm kind of crossing my fingers that some awesome mods will swoop in and restore this feature in Starfield. Cause let's be real, waiting around for a DLC to drop that actually adds this stuff in from Bethesda might just be a pipe dream. Now let's talk about the weight situation in Starfield. The weight limit you get to log around is just, well, it's too darn low, especially for a Bethesda game. As I said before, I'm a Bethesda fanboy, and then that means hoarding all the junk I can find. I've got this belief that every piece of scrap might just be the thing for crafting or for making a quick buck by selling it. But here's the kicker. With that hard carry limit, I'm forced to stop and sift through my loot, tossing away all the extra gear, spacesuits and weapons I've picked up. It's like playing an inventory Tetris game, trying to figure out what I need and what I can chuck. Even if you think, hey, I'll store some stuff in Starship's inventory, guess what? You'll still end up over encumbered. Because even the ship's storage system is tiny. And it gets super irritating sorting this stuff out repeatedly, especially with the UI that Starfield has right now, without any mods. So yup, I had to cave in and install a mod that gave me an unlimited carry weight. And that's pretty huge for me, because mostly when I go through for my first playthrough, I play my Bethesda games mod free, and then on my second playthrough I add in all the mods. But this time the weight issue, it really messed with my gaming groove. So the cheat mod was my savior. I had to install it. And on that note, there's also the way you sell items in Starfield. I mean, I thought I'd make some quick cash by selling off the load of junk I'd collected, but nope. Everywhere I went, the shopkeepers didn't have enough cash to buy my stuff. I mean, seriously, how do you expect a trader to be broke in a galaxy full of things to trade? The trade authority didn't even have more than a measly 11,000 credits. That's not nearly enough. And all these things, that the realism that Bethesda says they are put into the game, it kinds of feels a bit wacky to me, you know. I mean, Starfield's dishing out magic space pipes like Skyrim's dragon shouts, and yet they're still throwing in this whole realism bit. Alright, now it's time for me to jump over the spaceship part and the space combat. I mean, the space combat was a bit hassle for me because I was playing on my PC, and controlling your spaceship during a battle with your mouse and your keyboard can get to be a real headache. So I had to switch to my controller every time there was a space combat. And when you're cruising in space using a spaceship, it doesn't feel like you're going anywhere. No matter if you rev up the thrusters or boosters, you're still stuck feeling like the ship's just chilling there. I mean, realistic speeds are cool and all, but it doesn't feel like you're covering any ground. Again, comparing to Skyrim, where exploring always throws up something new and cool, here that's not the case, because usually you're not exploring that way. And the surprise moments only happen in Starfield when you have dealt with that fast travel menu and all the loading screens and arrived near the planet, not on the planet but near the planet. And then you get some encounters that are interesting, like I had one with the whole insurance scam bit, but that doesn't feel enough, because honestly I wanted more freedom like I had in Skyrim. I want to travel to nearby planets or moons without needing to rely on that fast travel menu. That would totally immerse me in this space exploration in Starfield. I mean, imagine unique encounters. You stumble across a stranded ship that gives you a new side quest, or you find a space inn, sort of like the inns present in Skyrim, used by space travelers to chill, refuel and restock supplies. You could chat with the inn owner or folks in there for tips, quests, or just to trade goods. And there's room for you to cross paths with a bounty hunter or merchant ship while you're out and about in space. And here's an idea. Instead of using your grav drive to jump away when the space battle gets too hairy and you know your ship is about to be destroyed, how about speeding up and landing on the nearest planet or moon? Then you and your enemy could duke it out with guns, both feet on the ground, without turning your ship into space dust. Now let's talk about the graphics in Starfield. And let me tell you, the graphics, I found it to be pretty darn good. The visuals and the lighting, when they come together, it's like a beautiful painting for me. I mean, I have no issues with the graphics. But when it comes to human faces, they feel a bit off. I mean, they are good to some extent, but they've got this uncanny valley thing going on. I mean, when the NPCs start chatting you up, their lip movements and their facial expressions feel kind of weird. Especially when the faces are zoomed in, it looks like they missed out on some motion capture magic. I mean, the expressions seem stuck on repeat, and when their lips move, the lip movements just doesn't feel human. And speaking of things that don't feel human, those alien designs are top notch. I only had one problem with the whole alien wildlife thing, is that they always give you the same loot. No matter which new alien creature you chase down, they're like a vending machine dropping the same stuff. And I don't know if it's a bug or not, for some reason I kept running into the same type of alien life on more than 2 planets. Especially that one that's got a face like a sunflower. But more than that, there's not much to nitpick here. And now coming to the bit that doesn't feel real in Starfield, doesn't feel like it goes well with the theme of Starfield. In Starfield, they dish out these special sci-fi powers. Kind of like the magical shouts in Skyrim. Now, gaining this power, scoring these powers is a breeze. You just need to find these temples scattered across the random planets. And you have to get there, land there, and you have to search for the planet. But for me, they were often parked close to where my spaceship landed. So I just saunter over to the temple and step right in. When you got inside the temple, it's like stepping into a spacey dream. The room's got these twinkling lights like looking at a starry night, and there's this thing which looks like a concentric ring in the middle of the room, and guess what? There's no gravity in the room. And then the mini game starts. And let me tell you, this mini game is probably the worst I've played in any game I've ever played. And unlike Skyrim, where you go through a dungeon or fight a dragon to get your dragon shouts, here you're just floating in zero gravity space, trying to go near these glowing mini stars. Whenever you come near the mini star, the rings start rotating, and as you gather more stars, the rings pick up speed until they all merge into one ring. But here's the kicker. You have no clue on how many stars you need to collect. You just go around on your thruster, collect these things, and expect something to happen. I mean, seriously, who at Bethesda thought this was a great idea? Anyway, after these rings unite, you pass through this ring thingy, the star powers flows into you and get your new power. Then you exit the temple, and that's it. Sometimes there's a person outside trying to take you down, but they are way too easy to handle. Now the powers that you get through these are cool and all, but like I said before, they feel a bit off in a game that's supposed to be anchored in reality as per Bethesda's claim. I mean, if they are speaking of reality here, if they can toss in some magical powers, it wouldn't hurt to see more intelligent life forms added in as well. I mean, it would really spice up the variety of enemies and encounters you come across in Starfield. In Skyrim, you got different races like the elves, the orcs, the Khajiits, Argonians. Also in Fallout 4, you have the super mutants, the ghouls, the synths. I mean, these diverse races, intelligent and semi-intelligent beings, really amp up the game's story, lore and enemy variety. But in Starfield, even with its massive map, and a ton of planets to brag about, not a whisper of intelligent life. I mean, Bethesda could have thrown in a few planets with some sign of intelligent life. I'm not saying to introduce a new super genius space traveling types like humans, but maybe some more primitive intelligent life. Life living in villages, using bows and arrows, maybe wielding stone weapons. Something like the Navi from movie Avatar. I mean, it could have almost the same storyline. We as humans could have been the bad guys exploiting the lands, resources and treating them like slaves. We could have a side quest where we'd step in as their saviors. Or we could have sided with the dark corporate side where we'd helped exploit these natives for our own gain. And it would go really well with the Ryujin Industries side quest. I do mean they don't need to flood the game with intelligent life forms, but come on, with 1000 planets scattered across the star map in Starfield, most of the planets they have alien life, most of the habitable planets they have alien life, so some could have evolved to be a little more caveman intelligent, more primitive intelligent. I'm not saying to fill the galaxy with intelligent life, but at least they could have spared a planet or two for these primitive intelligent beings. I mean, I've ranted quite a bit about Starfield issues, but still let me clear something up. I genuinely adore this game, and I'd still recommend you to go out and give it a shot. I've put in so many hours, days, and I've invested a truckload of time into the game. And like any other Bethesda game, I feel there's a certain DNA within Starfield that could make it much more grander than it is right now. Sure, I'm crossing my fingers that the future DLCs from Bethesda might fix up some of these issues, problems that I faced. But even if they don't, and history teaches us they might just drop the ball like they have done for most of the games and just let the modding community do their thing. So here also you can bet your bottom dollar that modders will swoop in to rescue the game. I know what you're thinking, that a game shouldn't need the modding community to be enjoyable or to fix its bugs. But let's face it, the fact is with any Bethesda game, the modding community will always be there to make the games far more enjoyable and significantly extend the game's life. I mean, take Skyrim for example. Even if you're running a plain non-modded version, you will still need SkyUI to save yourself from the clunky inventory system in Skyrim, in vanilla Skyrim. Also, most of the mods out there for Skyrim, they are game changers. They beef up the content so much that the game practically feels like an unofficial sequel. You've got mods that expand dialogue options, mods that toss in more NPCs roaming the land, mods that give you more unique random encounters, mods that add extra weapons, give you alternative starts, give you new follows and so much more. And there are also some mods that bring in entirely new lands and dungeons into the mix, like the epic Forgotten City, which basically turned into its own game. And not to forget the upcoming Sky Oblivion mod, which I've been waiting for a long time. So without these mods, I do know Skyrim would still be awesome, but maybe not as crazy popular. I mean, take a look at this Skyrim Anniversary Edition. It comes pre-modded with some mods from Bethesda's own creation club that gives it the extra features of fishing and some fresh missions and some new weapons. And that's what keeps people diving back into the game. So regardless of the uproar around Starfield, trust me, most of its upgrades and long-lasting fun will come from the mods cooked up by Starfield modding community. When I've rambled on about its problem, pointed out its flaws, but here's the deal. Like I said before, I'm a hardcore Bethesda fanboy. And I've seen their games shine with new features, improved graphics being added almost every month. And right now I'm on the edge of my seat to see what the common modding community will pull off. I'm convinced they'll take the game's potential and turn it into something incredible. Something that will keep us hooked for years to come. But for now, I've got to hit the pause button on my Starfield journey. It's been a wild ride with plenty of ups and downs. But there's still that unmistakable Bethesda magic that will keep me pulling back. I'll likely find myself going back to the Starfield universe, even if it's just for a few hours. And you have to remember one thing about this video, about this view, whatever you want to call it. This is just my take on it, the viewpoint of a Bethesda diehard. And despite all the complaints I have, I still gave Starfield about a month of my precious gaming time. And with my limited gaming hours, I enjoyed tackling the main quests and diving into the side missions. And I enjoyed it. And if you're a Bethesda fanboy like me, who enjoys the way Bethesda makes their missions, their quests, you will surely enjoy Starfield as well. So now that I've wrapped up things up in Starfield, I'm going to probably shift my focus to other games. So if you have vibed with what I had to say about Starfield, about all its hiccups and that undying Bethesda magic, toss this video a like, and please don't hold back on sharing your thoughts, whether they are sunshiny or stormy, about Starfield in the comments. Thank you everyone a ton for tuning in, and until next time, take care, lead a blessed life, and let's rendezvous in the next video.